Hey everybody, Thomas Joseph here with another kitchen conundrum that I know you've been asking about. Blind baking. Does your pie shell, your Thanksgiving pie, does it turn out like this, where the crust is shrunken and misshapen? Well, today I'm going to show you how to blind bake it so that it doesn't shrink down on you and you will end up with the most beautiful pie this Thanksgiving. So I'm going to start with a food processor, 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour, and to that I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of kosher salt, a teaspoon of granulated sugar, and I'm going to pulse this together so that the salt and the sugar evenly disperse with the all-purpose flour. Now to this I'm going to add 2 sticks of unsalted butter, and it's very, very cold. You want to make sure that you cube up your butter into nice small pieces like this. I think they're about a 1/2 inch cube, and put it into the refrigerator or even the freezer so it's really well chilled. Pulse this together until the mixture resembles a course meal with pea-sized clumps of butter in the flour. Because what that does is it melts down in the dough when you're baking it, creating steam, and steam creates these little pockets which end up creating a flaky pie crust. Now to this, I'm going to add ice water. Anywhere from 1/4 cup to 1/2 cup. I don't like to pour the water down the feed tube because I feel like the water builds up around the blade of the food processor. So I actually like to pour around the side of the bowl and then quickly pulse this together a few more times. And what you're looking for here is for the flour mixture to hold together when you squeeze it. This is crumbling up in my hand, so I know that I need to add a little bit more water. So I'm going to add the rest of the 1/2 cup water and pulse it together a few more times. So, let's see here. Give the mixture a little bit of a squeeze, and you can see that it's holding together. Now, this isn't a wet, tacky dough, and you want to make sure that it isn't, because if you add too much water to the dough, it does contribute to the shrinkage of the dough. So now I'm going to shape the dough into discs, and I have a piece of plastic wrap here, and I'm going to eyeball out about 1/2 of this mixture. And what you want to do here is you want to take the plastic wrap, use it to your advantage, and compress the dough into one mass. You can see it's still a little crumbly around the edges, but I'm going to show you how to fix that, because any crumbly bits around the edge of your disc of dough, in the end, when you go to roll it out, is going to crack around the edges, which isn't great. Pat the dough out in the plastic wrap, and then take your rolling pin here and actually roll the dough gently into the plastic wrap. And what that does is it compresses the dough into one cohesive disc. If you have one of these, this is a plastic bench scraper. You could use a regular bench scraper. You could use a ruler, anything with a straight side, and give the dough a nice rounded shape. So there you go, a perfectly round disc of pie dough. I'm going to repeat the process with the remaining dough, and this will give you enough for 2 single crust pies or 1 double crust pie. But into the refrigerator for at least an hour until it's really well chilled. I have my pie dough. It's been chilling for at least an hour, and it's been out about 5 minutes, because you don't want to roll it when it's completely cold, otherwise it will crack on you. And on a lightly floured surface, just going to sprinkle the top lightly with some flour as well, and your rolling pin. Make sure you use a decent amount of flour. You don't want to add too much, because you're going to work flour into your dough, which will toughen your dough. In one fluid motion, that's how you want to roll dough. You want to roll away from you and then constantly rotate your pie dough. And this is really important. You have to keep it moving, otherwise it will start to stick. And I'm going to roll this out into a 13-inch diameter, and that's for a 9-inch, a classic 9-inch pie plate. And now I'm ready to fit it into the pie plate. So use your rolling pin here to help you out a little bit. You can use your bench scraper and just roll the dough up onto the rolling pin. It's the easiest way to get it into the pie plate. And use a pastry brush like this, a nice wide pastry brush, to get off any excess flour. So now put your pie plate directly in front of your dough, and all you have to do simply is unravel the dough, and it fits right into the pie plate. Now gently push the dough into any of the corners. Trim the edges of the dough here, leaving a 1/2 inch border, and that will be enough to roll the crust underneath the pie shell, simply like this, creating a nice edge for me to crimp. And now for a very simple crimped edge, use your thumb, your pointer finger, and your other thumb, and gently press the dough into a nice, simple, crimped edge. It goes into the refrigerator now to chill, or you can even put it into the freezer for at least 15 to 20 minutes until it's nice and solid. So our beautiful pie shell has been in the freezer for about 15 minutes. It's really well chilled. And now for the blind baking process. And what is blind baking? Well, simply, it's pre-baking the pie shell so that it's ready for custard fillings, for pumpkin pie filling, for any of those wonderful coconut cream pies. I'm going to take a piece of parchment paper and I'm going to crinkle it up. And what this does is it helps to make the parchment paper a little bit more malleable so that it fits nicely into the pie plate. And now for the weights, I like to use lentils or split peas, anything that's small that will really fit into all of the nooks and crannies of the pie shell and help to prevent it from bubbling up. This goes into a preheated 375-degree oven for about 30 minutes, and you want to make sure and check that the bottom of the crust is completely set before removing the beans. So I'm going to go right into the oven. It's been 30 minutes in the oven. The crust looks nice and set, and I'm going to remove the pie weights now, the parchment and the pie weights. Lift out the parchment parcel here, and you can see the bottom crust is not soggy, it's not wet, it's pretty much dry, but it needs to brown up in the oven. So it's gonna go back into the oven for about 5 minutes more. So it's been about 5 to 10 minutes more, and the bottom crust is nice and brown, and it's beautifully flaky, you can tell. And now we're ready for our pumpkin pie filling, our coconut cream filling, or whatever filling you have in mind for this Thanksgiving. So there you have it, blind baking kitchen conundrum solved.